The internet has a very interesting superpower. And by interesting, I mean that it empowers some and sabotages others. The thing that the internet is really good at from a creative perspective right now is helping you try. YouTube and Twitter and Tumblr and Reddit and Facebook all give you places where, for free, you can try things. And not only that, but they allow you to try things in the public sphere where other people can potentially be exposed to them. Unlike printing in a book or a newspaper or putting on television, you generally don't really have to pay much, if anything, to get the content out there. And this is a good thing and a really nice thing because it lets people like me, and quite potentially you, try and see if we're good at certain creative pursuits just by doing them. This can be very empowering and helpful in terms of discovery and development. But there are some aspects of the way the internet works right now that are kind of more of a curse than a blessing. On the pre-publishing side of the creative process, you don't really get much guidance, and you don't really get much help in deciding what should be shown to other people and what shouldn't be shown to other people. I've talked about this before in regards to music when I was interviewing Monk Turner and we were doing our little show for working on the new concept album, which, by the way, is coming very soon and I'm very excited about. We talked about focus testing your musical ideas with a small group of people so that you can refine them and develop them and make sure what you're sending to everybody is interesting and well assembled and engaging. But there's another side, another implication of that statement that the internet helps you try that is almost more troubling and confusing and weird. In terms of audience size, for a very long time, I have prepared myself and sort of steeled myself for failure. I told myself that I was making it because I enjoyed it and because I was able to share it with at least a handful of my friends, and those interactions that I would have with my friends from my videos and the thoughts that I was able to edit together were beneficial and enjoyable and uplifting. But in making videos and in making music reviews and in even making music, I've sort of reached a different problem that I wasn't quite prepared for. And that is being sort of successful from relative metrics. I should just say first off that the numbers that are going to cause this confusion that I'm about to describe are really not impressive to anybody but me. Lest you think that I'm trying to brag or something, I recognize that it's kind of silly for me to be worrying about this right now. But though my rational brain says that it's silly, my heart says otherwise. When I started these videos, and when I started my music, and when I started my reviews, I was expecting a very particular and small audience. I mean, rationally, I knew that I was posting publicly online, and I wasn't opposed at all to the idea of it getting popular, or at least more popular than it was when I started. But the idea that I was writing for a very small group of people who understood who I was and what my worldview was and why I cared about the things that I cared about really shaped how I wrote or played or talked at the beginning. I didn't really worry about trying to sort of explain who I was to people, and I didn't really worry about being misunderstood in any sort of non-trivial aspect, because I was working under the assumption that everybody knew me. And in the very small time, easy to get started, social, focused, creative society that there is right now on the internet, I think it's very easy to fall into this trap of writing for your friends and then getting confused and bewildered when other people start paying attention too. This happened in different ways at different times on different mediums for me. With music, I actually sort of realized that there were people outside of my friend group interested in what I was doing from Twitter. And it was only like 2 or 3 or 4 people that were talking, but it still kind of blew my mind a little bit. In terms of music reviews / articles, mercifully, I don't have access to any of the metrics. My editor does. But a few times my editor has messaged me, or in conversations my editor has mentioned like 1 or 2 particular articles of all the ones that I've written that people seemed to really like for some reason. And the fact that I couldn't really reconcile what it was in those 1 or 2 articles in particular that made them stand out to people kind of messed with my head, because I worked hard on all of them. It wasn't like I wrote 3 that I knew were terrible and then 1 that I really tried hard at. In terms of video, this is gonna sound really ridiculous to all but like maybe 4 of you who are also small-time vloggers and know what this is like. I was kind of thrown for a loop when my song in that 13-minute video on social networks that I made with all of your help hit like 50 views. Yes, in my mind, 50 views is like out of my league. But in all of these cases, I started asking myself a question that is really, though it seems simple, just asking for trouble. Who are these people? Who are these unknown metrics that are coming and observing my works? Are they going to understand my context? Are they going to think that I'm crazy? And what right do I have to say anything to all these people? Now, that last question, actually, phrased a little bit differently, I think is very valid and something we should constantly be asking ourselves. Specifically, is there worth and virtue and value in what I'm creating? But back to the main point, in all of these cases, I find myself getting really stressed out about these metrics, these numbers, these possible bots that are observing what I'm doing, and I can't look at them. I can't see what they're saying. I can't divine what they're thinking of me. And that stress can just become frankly paralyzing. But now I'm realizing that is ridiculous. I'm getting freaked out by essentially numbers. Even if there's an individual behind each one of those numbers, if he or she does not feel compelled to comment, I should not feel compelled to second guess them. So in my 9th month of vlogging, in my 2nd year of writing reviews, in my, 5th year? 4th year of making music? I don't know. Thinking back to when it started is kind of difficult. I'm redoubling my efforts to make sure that my content is quality and my concerns are qualified. If you're an individual who has made creative content to put online, whether it's text or video or audio or art, I would love to hear your story. I'd like to know what your online experience has been like and whether you have trouble with this. And whether or not you fall into the former category, I would absolutely love it if you would hit me with some vocabulary. I feel like it's time to make another artful vocabulary video. So final submissions downstairs right now. This is Jacke Karashae wishing you the best of published creative pursuits.